Hello, free spirits. I hope you're doing very well. Today, I want to talk to you about what makes people heal. What helps people overcome life's challenges and difficulties, and what helps them to stay resilient in difficult situations. We are all very resilient, and we can heal from any situation that we have experienced in the past or in the present. So there are four forces in psychology that are very important to see. The first force psychology is psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis became very popular with Sigmund Freud, and then his student Carl Jung took over Sigmund Freud's teachings about the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, the ego, the superego, the id. Carl Jung focused less on sexual repression and sexual issues as Sigmund Freud did, and also came up with revolutionary concepts that have really changed the field of psychology. One of them that I find particularly fascinating is the concept of the collective unconscious. But guess what? Carl Jung is not the first person to discover or come up with this concept of collective unconscious. Thousands of years ago in Eastern philosophy, especially in India, the sages and seers of India, the great teachers and philosophers thousands of years ago, were already talking about a collective consciousness, cosmic intelligence, higher consciousness, and they knew through meditative states, high levels of meditation, that we are all interconnected by a field that cannot be seen or touched, but can be experienced. And this is the realm of the spiritual. But putting that aside, Carl Jung discovered that there is this collective unconscious that unifies the human race. So that's the first force psychology. The second force psychology is behaviorism. And this is the therapy approach that believes that change happens when we change the rationale or the cognitive process, the way human beings think. Behaviorists are based in very strong research conducted by Pavlov and Skinner about conditioning and how human behavior is learned. The third force is humanism. Humanists reject behaviorists, and they say that most of people's problems are not learned. It doesn't come from our behavior, our learned behavior necessarily, but our dilemmas in life, our difficulties, our trauma or difficult experiences are part of life. These are the existentialists, the humanists. Humanistic counselors reject behaviorism and psychoanalysis, and they concentrate more on the experience of the person in the present moment. And they are not so much interested in discovering or exploring what happened in your childhood. These could be therapies like Existential Therapy or Gestalt Therapy that use a lot of tools and techniques to explore how a person feels in the moment, how they are experiencing their life, and what meaning they put to their experiences. The fourth force psychology is called transpersonal psychology. And this is the most recent developments in psychology. I am very excited about this because transpersonal psychology seems to be accepting that we are not only a physical body and a mind, but we are also a spiritual. We have a spiritual dimension, and we as human beings, to heal and to evolve and to become better or break bad habits or overcome trauma in the past, we need to transcend our problems as people in this physical body. We need to transcend our problems, our mind, our thought process, and not give so much importance to the way we think, but to our spiritual dimension. This is something very revolutionary if you see psychology 100 years ago or even 50 years ago. Aside from these four forces of psychology, we have different therapy modalities. Most counselors have one or two general theory, foundational theory, where they base their therapy services. Counselors are encouraged to be authentic, congruent, and genuine in their approach to therapy. How can you trust a counselor that is not congruent when he or she says one thing and does another one in the personal life? And this is a journey of self-exploration that all counselors, therapists, and psychologists go through. Some of the main therapies that exist these days are CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. REBT is rational, emotive, behavioral therapy. Existential therapy, humanistic therapies, Gestalt Therapy, psychoanalysis, and person-centered. I may be missing a few therapies here and there, but these are the umbrella, the more general theoretical approaches that most counselors use. CBT bases the healing process in the belief that people heal when they change their thoughts or the way they process thoughts and emotions that is causing an undesired behavior. Rational, emotive, behavioral therapy, REBT, is based on the belief that healing happens when we think more rationally and we help clients explore their thought process and their belief systems and become a little less emotional, if that is the problem, and be more rational about things. Existential therapists are more philosophical. They believe that change happens when we help people explore their life purpose. They believe that people are responsible for their own making, for their own life. Existential therapy is founded in very important philosophers like Kierkegaard, Sartre, and Nietzsche. Humanistic approaches like Gestalt, they use a lot of tools and techniques to help clients explore in the present moment what they are feeling and why they are feeling it. Gestalt therapy, for example, uses techniques like the empty chair, psychodrama, role playing, and other techniques that are very interesting and very healing. Person-centered, also called client-centered, is the theoretical approach that believes that healing can happen when we provide a safe space for the client to talk without being too directive and asking a lot of questions. In fact, this theoretical approach is very laid back. The counselor is there to listen attentively, to have unconditional regard for the client, and to listen unconditionally. A lot of people think, how can that help someone heal? I can talk to my friends or to somebody else. Well, very few people really have the opportunity in their lifetimes to be listened to attentively and without judgment. Just think about it. When we want to talk about something that it really matters to us, usually the other person that is listening is waiting to give his or her opinion, to become defensive, or to prove a point, or to give advice when we are not asking for advice. Some clients find that simply by talking in this environment is healing in itself. There is an approach that is called eclectical and borrows from these different modalities. This is extremely useful because not one client is the same. I really believe that most of people's problems are in the way they see life, in their way of thinking. And even though I don't want to change people's identity, it is important that we learn to see things from a different perspective that could be healthier and more productive in our own lives. Sometimes a lot of people cling to a belief system that is not working for them anymore. People are in constant evolution. We are not the same people as we were when we were 20 years old or 30 years old. In 5 years or 10 years, people can change substantially. Your life is your own creation, and your thoughts create your reality. So it's very important to have a healthy outlook in life and have very positive thoughts and minimize the mind chatter to experience a healthy life with peace and joy. I hope this was helpful to you, free spirits. As always, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.